Is there a wastebasket around?
In the by Glenn, throw it at Glenn.
Oh, he's
and
the
he'll-
new guy.
You might have a
This
motion.
is
Yeah, we didn't even know that. Maybe you see the guy coming in the front door.
You left early last time, so
Unabomber.
you owe me one.
Yeah, I think
Step down.
All right, we're ready. Okay, good evening. The Charter Township of Plymouth Board of Trustees regular meeting for Tuesday, May 9th, 2023 will come to order. Mr. Clerk, please take the roll.
Trustee Stewart.
Here.
Trustee Monahan.
Here.
Trustee Kermy.
Here.
Trustee Buckley.
Here.
Clerk Vorba here. Treasurer Dorshevitz.
Here,
Supervisor Heisey.
Here.
We have a quorum.
Okay, tonight's Pledge of Allegiance, how about we do Officer Bradley Vaughn, who is our special guest tonight? Okay?
Pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Ready, front.
Okay.
Front center, march.
So Officer Vaughn, don't sit down yet. You are our special guest here tonight because we have a presentation. Mike is very hot tonight. We have a presentation for the proclamation of National Police Week, which is from May 14th to May 20th. Come up here. So Officer Vaughn was our 2022 Police Officer of the Year. Congratulations. We'll recognize that again more formally later in the year. But we just wanted you to be the recipient of our National Police Week proclamation. Don't worry, I will not read it. But we would certainly appreciate it if you and the chief would hang this up in the station.
Oh, we sure will.
We cannot say enough about how wonderful you guys and gals are in the police department. You do a wonderful job for us, and we're really proud of you, and we got your back, okay?
Thank you.
So there you go. Thanks.
Very much appreciated.
Thank
you for all of our
Thank you.
board members.
Can we please mention, he is a local Salem High School graduate and graduate of Grand Valley State University.
There you go.
Thank you. Excellent. Well done. Thank you. Yes, sir.
Officer Vaughn is going to hit the streets right now and protect us, so I'm going to excuse him, sir.
Okay.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Be careful out there. All right. I need a motion to approve tonight's agenda.
Mr. Supervisor.
Mr. Clerk?
I move for the approval of the agenda for Tuesday, May 9th, 2023.
Okay, motion's made by Clerk Vorba.
Second.
Second by Trustee Monahan. All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Okay, approval of the consent agenda. Questions, comments, concerns?
Yeah, I want to take a couple of items off because I have some questions.
Okay.
One is the April 11th meeting. I wasn't there, so I should excuse myself from voting for those minutes, right?
No.
Usually, I thought you told me we're supposed to do that, Kevin. When we're not at a meeting, we shouldn't be voting to approve the minutes.
I've never heard.
That would appear logical.
Okay, so,
I think that's your choice. I don't know
All
if
right.
that's necessarily a rule.
no?
I always thought it was because you can't testify to the minutes
Right.
because you weren't there.
So that's why you abstain, or whatever. So I should abstain?
Yeah.
Okay, so all right. So I need to
So
abstain.
you were
on-
absent and stepped down from that meeting?
No, he was.
Oh, okay, all right, I just want to clarify
What did you say?
semantics.
He didn't know you were absent. He
I
was-
just want to clarify semantics.
Okay. We're
Well,
good.
on the attendance sheet, there's
We're
two
good.
people that weren't there.
Okay.
That's right, and then I will abstain as well now that I know that is
Yeah.
Okay.
what we should be doing.
If that's your, if that's your desire.
All right, and the other two items, one, I would like the fire chief to give a 1 or 2 minute verbal executive summary on the monthly report, and also the police chief. Just very high level, boom, 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 executive summary.
Okay, so do we want to do that now, or do we want to vote on it and get it over with, and then we'll come back to the chiefs?
So we just do it now.
I'm doing it now.
Do it now, okay. Who wants to go first?
So you should have the monthly report in front of you. We responded to 299 calls this month, just under 300. Average of 9.96 runs a day. Average response time was 5 minutes, 45 seconds. Mutual aid numbers are there. I'm not going to go through all of them. The ones that are kind of interesting are the Inkster FD and the Westland FD. That was all one night. That was the last board meeting night. They had 2 fires, I think, going in Westland, and then like a couple more fires came in, and it was a bit of pandemonium going on down that way. But everything got taken care of, and we helped them out. I think we were responding with Livonia and Inkster. Basically, all of western Maine County was going down to help Westland that day. We had 14 fires accounted for $59,700 for the property damage. We prevented the loss of $2,010,000. And our EMS transports, HVA transported 102. We transported 40, a total 142. Billed out $20,037 and received $17,828. We have 20,954 in outstanding bills over 180 days. Participated in 60 comprehensive fire inspections of different businesses in the township and conducted 1 fire extinguisher class, 2 CPR classes, 5 special events with a total of 407 participants.
Anything remarkable that, any big problem or any great observation?
No, just
All right.
an average month. We've been fortunate. Today we were out on Ridgewood. We've received an acquired structure that we've been doing training on for the last several weeks. It's going to be demolished, and the homeowner has allowed us to go in there and train in it, and it's been very beneficial for us. That's been kind of our highlight of the month.
Okay, Chief Nytel.
Could you pull your mic up a little closer to you?
Get it on, too.
Make sure the green light's on.
Sir, all right, hear me now. Going over the report that you have in your packets, Part 1 crimes are down 5.26%. Reviewing those areas, credit card fraud continues to be an issue that we're combating. I'll talk a little bit more about that when I talk about our community outreach projects that we're working on. Also, we have a significant increase in controlled substance arrests, so 66% on that. Our weapons offenses were down significantly, which is good. Police responses are fairly consistent from last year. The cities were up a little bit, ours were consistent. Traffic enforcement has increased significantly. If you look at the traffic stops, they are up over probably 25%. Rough numbers, and those are up because we are really focusing on specific areas in town where we're having traffic enforcement complaints. Half hour before this meeting, I received one via email that we're going to look at. So we identify the areas that the citizens tell us where there's either speeding or stop sign or traffic light issues, and then we go out there and our officers, we start with verbal warnings initially, and then we move to traffic citations. So both the warnings and the citations have increased. Our community outreach projects, very proud of the things that we've done in April here of 2023. We held a senior seminar at the Friendship Center, which we had a nice turnout for that. We're planning our next senior seminar for fraud, and we're partnering, in June, we're going to be partnering with Community Financial, and we're going to focus specifically on bank fraud, and we're getting a lot of calls on title-related fraud. So we're going to focus on those 2 things. Homeland Security Task Force Officer Tom Champagne is going to work directly with community outreach folks from Community Financial. On April the 29th, we participated in the Mental Health and Wellness Fair. That was at Kellogg Park, and it was put on by the school district. And I will tell you that some of the funding that was provided by the Board of Trustees, we have a beautiful community outreach tent, Plymouth Township Police Department, in our table. We got a lot of compliments on the staff that were out there. Specifically our crisis outreach team was out there, and those folks in our dispatch center, when we get the calls in, particularly suicidal type situations, they have special training for that. So they were out there. It was a great event. We were able to work. Most of the school board was out there. We had a chance to talk with them a little bit. Monica Merritt was out there from the superintendent, so that was a really nice event. During April, we also hosted, as I mentioned at the last meeting, One Pill Can Kill event. Our DEA Task Force Officer, Caitlin Nicely, made that presentation. We had both, we had residents as well as high school and college kids that were at that presentation that went over very well. On that following Saturday, we had Operation Takeback, where we partnered with DEA. We recovered 69 pounds of prescription narcotics that folks dropped off. We had a station set up here at the front desk. We also partnered with Kroger's for that operation. And lastly, over the last few months, we've developed an active assailant training that we offer to businesses in Plymouth Township. And it's about an hour, 40-minute training with a 20-minute question and answer. We go out to businesses that are looking for active assailant training, and we're able to provide that to our area businesses. So that would be a summary of our activities in April.
Great, thank you.
Also, I'm sorry, one other thing I was going to mention is today is National Fentanyl Awareness Day. I received some information earlier today from Dr. Ann Milgram, who is the DEA administrator, acknowledging the efforts that they're having with the cartels down in Mexico that also affect us in our area as well. So that's being acknowledged as well today. So National Fentanyl Awareness Day.
Chief, you said that the arrests for controlled substances are up. What kind of controlled substances are you seeing?
We have seen cocaine, we have seen heroin, small fentanyl, type of arrests. So yeah, we're seeing various, but and we haven't seen significant amounts, but more personal use type of arrests, but would be a majority of those.
Okay, thank you.
Will you be doing anything special because of the high school graduation period to keep people safe? I don't know what kind of activity is going on in the high schools this month and next.
Yeah, so we'll have some events at the USA Arena for graduation, so we'll provide extra patrol for those. Our officers will also be out, when it comes to the graduations and various things, providing extra patrol for those to make sure that everybody's operating properly.
Eastern. Oh, Salem is. All right. Oh, what did you,
You had said graduations at USA Hockey?
I know previous, I don't have information that they are.
Catholic
but-
Central.
I think it's going to be at EMU.
No, but
Yes.
Catholic
Is it?
Central,
Okay.
that doesn't Catholic Central
They're at
have it
EMU.
at
No.
no?
Who's at
Central has
USA
it
Hockey?
in Ann Arbor.
Okay. All right. Okay, Mr. Clerk, you have a motion
Yes, I have a
here?
motion
Well,
for the-
Let's hear his motion, and I think that'll help.
I approve for the approval of the consent agenda for Tuesday, May 9, 2023, with the addition that due to excused absences, that both trustee Monahan and Kermy be excused from voting and can abstain.
Okay, so you don't have to abstain on the final vote. You're just acknowledge that you are abstaining on the minutes only.
Yes.
So there's a motion from Clerk Vorba. Is there a second? Second by Treasurer Dorshevitz. You will need to take the roll call because we have resolutions.
Supervisor Heisey?
Yes.
Treasurer Dorshevitz?
Yes.
Clerk Borba, yes. Trustee Buckley?
Yes.
And Kermy will be voting on the other things besides.
Yeah, he's voting,
Yeah, yeah.
he's going to vote his,
For the resolution.
I'm not telling you how to vote, but you're going to vote yes. And
Okay.
then with the
Yeah.
understanding that you're.
These words are added in there.
Yes.
Exactly, thank you. Yeah, exactly.
Trustee Kermy?
Yes.
Trustee Monahan?
Yes.
Trustee Stewart?
Yes.
Motion carries.
Okay, public comment limited to 3 minutes.
Would this be the time that we could discuss the racetrack?
Sure, you can discuss anything you want. Just give you 3 minutes.
Very good. Can I come up right now?
Yep.
Please go up front and speak into the microphone. Get as close
You
to
can
the
hold
mic.
it up to your face if you need to.
Yeah. Just make sure the green light's on.
Green light's on. Can you hear me?
Yes.
My name's Dale Bernhardt, a longtime resident in the township. And I'd like to discuss how we came to the decisions for the racetrack. My first question is, was a traffic impact completed prior to your decision to approve? Is anything done to?
I'll have the township engineer answer that if he can.
So get 3 minutes.
Yeah, no worries.
Well,
no
we're-
worries. The development did provide us with numbers as far as like the number of trips they expect on the weekends and the number of trips they expect during the peak hours. So typically what you look at from a traffic impact is how many cars are entering or exiting the facility during peak weekday hours. Outside of that, the volume is insignificant compared to normal traffic volumes. You're really looking at those peak hours when you're going to see a lot of cars at a stop sign, a lot of cars at a traffic signal, and neither of those were impactful.
Okay, so that was brought up then, because it wasn't in the minutes.
Yep. Yeah, it was brought up,
time it
and
was approved.
Adam, my colleague, was there, and I think he partially answered it, didn't know some of the background that I had on it.
Okay. Next question is, what criteria was used to pass this, to approve it? What's the benefit really to the
Well,
township?
I mean, I guess, I'm not trying to be difficult, but I mean, a board speaks through its official actions, through our deliberations and finally through a vote. I don't think it's, I mean, I'm not, I don't have, I can't rehash everything that we went through that night. I guess my recommendation is that you watch the meeting of both the Planning Commission and the Board of Trustees, and the Planning Commission meeting from last week where the matter was tabled because they didn't have enough information to make an informed decision.
And I
So,
was there, I saw
you know,
that.
Planner's report.
Yeah, I mean, and that was the planner's report recommendation. So, I mean, I guess we all came to our own conclusions based on the facts and the law and the cost benefit of a particular site. We do that all the time.
Cost benefit?
I'm using that as a term of art. I mean, they are, the racetrack would be providing the township with basically revenue sharing. They pay taxes. So, I mean, there's a cost and a benefit to
Taxes
everything.
don't come to us though, right?
The bulk of the taxes will go to the Michigan International Technology Center, which is the brownfield that services 5 Mile between Napier and Beck. And that money, in turn, is intended to be used to rebuild 5 Mile Road between Napier and Beck to make it a more useful passageway for the businesses that are going to be settling in that corridor.
Mm-hmm.
Which again, improves the tax base, creates jobs and economic development on formerly prison property.
I guess I have a little issue with benefit. If we go back a couple prior years, when townships, municipalities were looking at marijuana dispensaries, we had the option to opt in or opt out. And at the time, we opted out. And personally, I think that was a good decision. I don't think we need one. But Mr. Heise, you had stated at the time that the potential problematic consequences of allowing dispensaries far outweigh the potential revenue from taxes the township could have secured. So I assume a study was done at that time to determine that, correct?
That goes back several years. I don't recall all of the deliberations that went on during that time. I know we held a public hearing. I know we had people here in the room, both for and against marijuana in our community. I know the city of Plymouth has done extensive studies on this and has determined that it's not in their best interests. And I would say that they're a far more liberal community than we are.
Mm-hmm.
And you know, again, that goes back to decisions that were made by a previous board as well. Some of us weren't even on this board at that time. So I guess we're kind of mixing apples and oranges, frankly. I mean, this is a private property rights issue. We have an individual, the Carlo brothers, who have purchased this parcel. They've come to us with an application under our local ordinances and state law.
I'm sorry, not trying to make it an apples and oranges type of thing. It's that there was probably a study done, and again, you had said the potential revenue from taxes the township could have secured. So I'm just wondering, did we do a study with the racetrack to understand the revenue that we would receive?
That you can go back to all of the deliberations with several hours of public deliberations with the Planning Commission, Board of Trustees, our planner, our engineer, public. So that's how decisions were arrived at.
I guess from my standpoint, I look at how is a medical marijuana dispensary more problematic than gambling, alcohol, and road congestion.
Not sure how we got talking about marijuana, but okay. That's not on our agenda for tonight.
Well, I'm just looking, oh no, I understand that, but I'm trying to understand did we do a study back then?
I guess we
And
would
why
have to
did we
go-
not do a study?
I guess we
with
would have to
this?
go back and determine what the board's considerations were in January, February of what did that have been? 2017?
17 or 18, yeah.
Or 18?
Well, for you to make that statement, though, that it wasn't in the
Marijuana was
township's
approved at the
best
state in
interest.
November of 2018, right?
Yeah, but we
Or
made
was
a
it-
decision, not to have dispensaries or sales or grow facilities or transportation facilities.
Yeah, but there was no formal analysis done or data presented.
Okay,
At that
well,
time.
I guess that was my question.
I don't recall any.
But somehow that decision was made that it's not in the best interest of the township because
Correct.
we weren't going to get much revenue. And I guess that's my question with this racetrack. Truly, are we going to get enough revenue for it? And what's the
Well,
benefit to the residents?
Currently, the township, the city of Northville is making anywhere from $200,000 to $250,000 a year in breakage fees. There were times in the past before before COVID, when they were making twice that amount. They also pay property taxes. This is a $22 million investment, so there will be considerable property taxes generated on the site. Jobs will be created, plus we're also working with them on the planned unit development, which includes public amenities such as a walkway, sidewalk, soccer fields, possibly pickleball courts, and other amenities that would be suitable for the public on a year-round basis. So.
Which would, in your traffic impact report then, did that kind of include those other amenities for soccer, and it'd be soccer tournaments and
Yeah, so,
probably other type of fireworks and all that kind of stuff? I mean, did we look at all that then too?
right, again, so the items that we're looking at that are of consequence are those peak hours during the weekdays. The things that we're talking about on amenities are weekends and nights, so they don't.
So
they
there
don't
could be
miss-
more impact with what we're discussing here.
No, not generally. Generally, you see the most traffic on the peak hours during the weekdays, during the morning and evening. That's rush hour where everyone is leaving to and from work. You don't necessarily get those same impacts during the weekends because there's different schedules, different timings. You don't have a consistent amount of traffic every single one of those hours.
Okay, I appreciate you giving me
Unless
a
you had
little
a
bit more
major
than.
event where you
Well,
had
there's
the.
always exceptions.
Like fireworks, we've had fireworks, we know that that's a major traffic event.
Right, and those are special events, which are different. I mean, those things happen, and there's not much you can do about a special event outside of,
Not scheduling.
yeah, there you go.
We get Aerosmith out there, there's gonna be a lot of traffic.
No, I was thinking more Michigan Philharmonics.
Oh,
I want Queen.
Oh, dear.
did you say
Anyway.
Queen?
I'm sorry, you want Queen?
No, he's dead.
Yeah.
I know Queen
know,
is dead,
we know.
but he's got a new.
Okay, anything, you all set?
No, I'm all set.
Okay, thanks.
Thanks for the time, I
All
appreciate it.
righty,
You know.
all righty.
Hello, my name is Eileen Coleman, and I'm just going to give a little synopsis of the racetrack, of course, because that's the issue at hand.
Get the mic close to your face.
Yep. And as far as I'm concerned, it's not a done deal yet, actually. There's still some deliberating that can happen. There's some conversations to have. There's some issues to look at before it's settled. It's not settled with me, and I don't think it's settled with the population here yet either, with the people in the community. So Plymouth Township is not a proper location for a gaming, gambling-centered racetrack whose culture or anti-culture is centered around money earned through preying on a vulnerable population. This is against the values of our current culture, family-friendly. The role of this board is to make decisions consistent with the common good. Your decision to even consider a gambling, gaming racetrack is quite shocking to me. When I first heard of this, it did not make any sense, given the real negative inherent consequences of a business of this nature. Are you desperate to fill the land, or do you have a plan to expand this to house a casino? That's the only thing I could come up with. I couldn't understand why you would want this in this area. There's no real benefit to this venture, and there will be ripples of harm to this community, including crime, drunk driving, lower property values in immediate and surrounding areas, major traffic issues, increased costs to residents, to staff police, money taken away from families spent on emptiness with the thrill of a potential win, money taken from the community, social cost to families whose addicted family members cannot perform his or her duties, work, care of children, etc. No real monetary benefit to the community. Unsafe environment for children to play soccer. You're going to have children on soccer fields with gamblers and alcohol. And I'm trying to think, how does that mix? How does that work?
Well, they're not going to be there at the same time.
They're there 11 to 12 doing gaming in the building, drinking. That's that's 7 days a week.
Yes, that is true, there will be
drink and they
drinking and
gamble
gambling
all
from
day.
11 to midnight, 7 days a
Every-
week,
all
365 days a year.
All year.
But they're not gambling on horse races live, they're simulcast.
It's called parimutuel, is it? Is that what it's called?
Yeah, I don't
Same
understand.
thing, same thing they've been doing in the city for 100 years.
Right.
I urge this board to stop and reflect on the nature of this business that is contrary to the common good. I would argue that this threatens the common good to Plymouth Township members by creating too many risks for an orderly living. In addition to being contrary to the common good, the requirements of the PUD necessary for proceeding appear not to have been met. This is not particularly suited to the needs of the residents of Plymouth Township. It's gambling, it's gaming. This is not in harmony with the existing and proposed land patterns of adjacent properties. This completely changes the nature of this land was intended for. It was namely to be used for tech jobs. This was to create real jobs for, like, creating things, studying, learning, and bringing the young of our community into real jobs. The traffic will be such that to and from the site will not be hazardous. I would argue that that has not been proven, and there will be conflict with normal traffic flow. That's one of the requirements. This proposal is not compatible with the quiet nature of the area. It does not ensure the stability of the orderly development of the same area. And then Mrs. Buckley, you said that in your comment with the last meeting, you said that it does not, just because a lot of people show up, doesn't mean that you're not considering the people that you're representing because you've talked to a lot of people. But really, if you wanted to know the will of the people in a community, you have to survey them. You can't just like you can't take it for granted that just because we have 30 people in a room that are opposed, that means the whole community is opposed. You'd have to actually conduct a survey to know what people really think about having a racetrack. And I don't think anyone has done anything like that.
On the contrary, I did, but thank
A
you for
survey.
the recommendation.
I'm talking about a
An
survey.
informal survey, yeah.
I'm not talking informal.
Okay.
And Audrey, I was going to address something that you said. You said that it's not based on opinion, and that even if you don't like gambling, it doesn't really matter. It's not really your opinion. But actually, if you look at the issue of gambling, then what you have to do is you have to wrestle with why you don't like it. If you don't like it, why is it that you don't like it? Because there is a truth about gambling, right? That's why we're thinking. That's why we think deeply about anything that we think about. What is the truth about it? What is the objective good or not good about whatever you're voting on? Whatever you're proposing, you have to look at, is it an objective good for the community? And I would argue no.
Yeah, and in the context of that, and thank you for repeating that, in the context of that is that my responsibility is to support the wishes of my constituents, okay, for the betterment of what they want, not necessarily my own opinion, because that was the framing I mentioned to you.
Your constituents could have an idea that was not consistent with the objective good as well, and you would have to then.
The public can't hear this conversation.
Okay.
Okay. Okay, anybody else? I think you guys are here for something else. New business, second reading of the ordinance creating the Veterans Commission. I did make some changes based on our conversations from the last meeting. The major changes, members may also be considered if they are a direct family member of a veteran and have demonstrated prior involvement in veteran services, programs, or support groups. I think that encapsulates what Trustee Buckley and Trustee Kermey were both hoping to achieve. The one change that I guess I didn't make is, but I did modify it a little bit, that I would request that Jennifer Buckley be directed to serve as the organizing chair of this commission. I suppose, Trustee Buckley, if you're deposed at the first meeting, then you've done your duty. You can still be on the commission, but you won't be the chair. But I just got a funny feeling that's not going to happen. So, Anyway, that would be my request. Bob?
Yeah, just a quick, I think you ought to strike that, that requirement that they be veterans, because I just think it's too limiting. And I spot checked a couple other ones, Lansing and Southfield, just 5 minutes, and I didn't see that in there. But, you're necessarily excluding somebody, maybe not for a good reason, when you still have that discretion to appoint whoever you want to appoint. You're the supervisor, so you can appoint only veterans if you choose to do that. But I think by putting that in there, in the future, if somebody steps forward and they're a great candidate, but they're not a veteran, you can't legally appoint them to this commission, and that it doesn't make sense to put that into the law. And that's my opinion.
And I agree, this is not the spirit of what I was looking for. I could not be on this committee.
Right.
And I'm a lifelong member of Plymouth Township. And there's also, I don't have a direct family member who's a veteran either. So I would not, this is an exclusive group. We've never had a commission that is exclusive and limits the pool of people that you can appoint from the community. On page 80 of 102, there's a thing that says members of the commission must be registered electors. That means registered to vote.
Yeah, and we have that in other ordinances.
But what happens if you have somebody who's, let's say, moved here from another country and they may be a veteran, but they don't have their citizenship yet because it takes 5 years.
I don't think we can appoint non-citizens to a public board or
Pardon?
commission.
Depends what country they're from.
Well, this doesn't have voting, but I mean, this doesn't have a voting, what do you call it? This is just a ceremonial commission.
I mean, they're going to cast votes. I'm going to yield to Trustee Buckley. I mean, what's your comfort level?
I mean, I still go back and forth, because I think those that know the military, who are family of military, are in a unique position to help them best.
And that may be true, but they're not the only ones.
Right.
And when you get a pool of candidates, you select the best candidates, and if the best candidates all happen to be veterans, that's great.
No, I agree with you, because I could think of other scenarios too, where maybe you worked on a military base, and so you've worked with veterans, you've worked with military personnel, but you never served yourself, nor do you know anyone, and they would probably be in a better position than other people, even veterans themselves.
okay.
So,
Yeah.
Well, my husband's.
It's restricting it for no good reason.
Yeah, and
I get it.
And my husband, Steve Monty, I mean, for 10
Yeah.
years, he arranged the parade for the veterans, okay? And I didn't serve, so I would effectively not be able to serve on this commission either, even though
no, as a family member,
for
direct
every
family member.
holiday that came up, that's where we went, so, I mean, I've watched them through the years.
No, but you've demonstrated prior involvement. That would
Well,
be the
that's true,
catch-all.
too.
So let me just cut to the chase. I can, if Jennifer, Trustee Buckley, if you're okay with this, we can just make it members of the commission shall be residents of the township, who shall be, I still think we have, Kevin, what's your opinion on registered electors? I think they have to be electors. I think they have to be registered voters.
These are discretionary considerations for the board.
Well, I mean, I certainly am not going to recommend non-residents or people. I mean, I think you should.
Not residents, we're talking about
Definitely be residents.
I think you should be registered to vote, and I think you should be a citizen of this country.
I think that's probably.
So, Mr.
Since
Supervisor,
this is a Veterans Commission.
Yeah, I don't want you to be a
So,
veteran of the Russian army.
I guess not.
Well, you could be, you never know.
All right. So, John, what do you have to say?
Mr. Supervisor, do I hear consensus that the commission, the Veterans Commission, does not require that you be a veteran, that Trustee Buckley, we're trusting her, and it would make the best sense that she be the initial chairperson, and that we have a registered elector as a requirement for this commission?
I agree.
So what are the exact words?
Item E1 would strike everything between it would just say, members of the commission shall be residents of the township, Members of the commission must be registered electors of the township. All members of the commission shall be voting members of the commission. And we'll strike all the veteran stuff. I still make recommendations anyway, and I think Bob or somebody here has already pointed out that I make the recommendations to you all, so thank you.
All this,
Yeah, there's still a process to
all
it.
this information on.
Hey,
You want to word the motion and I'll support it?
that's fine with me.
I mean,
You
that's
want to
one
word
of
the
the
motion
privileges
and I'll
you have.
support it?
Yeah, okay.
You-
So you want to make that motion as amended? You can just say
Yes,
as
please.
amended, and I've already scratched out the pertinent items. So if you want to make the motion, I just want to make sure we're all done with discussion.
As amended.
Well, we're going to strike out everything beyond township. Members of the commission shall be residents of the township.
Yes.
And we strike all the way to dishonorable?
No, we strike all the way to members of the commission, the second to last line.
Okay, all right.
All right then. Mr. Stewart, did you still want to make that motion?
Well, is it verbatim as on page 78,
Yeah, and then just as amended.
As amended, yeah.
as amended?
Yeah.
I want to thank trustee Buckley, and I also want to give notice that on May 25th, Oakland County is having what appears to be a huge veterans resource meeting. And it was on Channel 7, ABC, WXYZ, that all veterans resources would be available that day, and that should be a goal of ours, that we host such a thing. So I move to adopt resolutions number 2023-05-09-41 for the second reading as amended. An ordinance creating a Plymouth Township Veterans Commission. Further, the Township Trustee Jennifer Buckley be directed to serve as its initial organizing chair.
Okay, so basically, we're ordering Buckley to do this, okay?
Do you
You
accept?
are aware that you're being commanded by the board here.
I was
She
gonna say,
knows
that's
how,
an order.
I'm on
she
it.
knows how to salute.
You're
too.
on it.
She's the only veteran on here, by the way, so on this board. All right, motion's made by trustee
Second.
Stewart. Is there a second? Second by trustee Monahan. Mr. Clerk.
Clerk Borba, yes. Trustee Kermy.
Yes.
Trustee Monahan.
Yes.
Treasurer Dorchevitz.
Yes.
Trustee Stewart.
Yes.
Supervisor Heisel.
Yes.
Trustee Buckley.
Yes.
Motion carried.
Hey, John, Kevin Bennett, isn't that a bill of attainder? Isn't that unconstitutional that
Oh
we can,
my gosh,
we can't
bill of
write
attainder.
an ordinance that directs somebody to do something?
Yeah, I think we can.
I remember that in law school.
Well, she's not directing, she's accepting.
All right, so it's voluntary. Okay, good.
voluntary.
Well, thank you very much.
You can take the duct tape off her hands now, okay?
Yes, yes. Okay, second item, F2 is the award contract for the sidewalk gap program. Jeremy.
Okay, this is the 2023 Sidewalk Gap Program. This is, we're building sidewalk on the east side of Main Street from Joy to Ann Arbor. So this is continuing on our gap program through the ARPA funding that we set aside.
Wait a minute, Joy to Ann Arbor.
Yeah.
So this 600,000 is just for that strip?
Just for that strip. It's about 2,200 feet. The strip that we did on Ann Arbor Trail is
I see.
2,600 feet. The difference in cost is about 6% more than the previous year. So it's right in line with where we expected. It's actually less than our engineer's estimate. We
Well,
thought
it's
it
an
was
easy construction project, because it's
Yeah.
flat as a board.
Yep, there's
and
not
wide
as,
open.
we didn't need easements. We were able to avoid a lot of trees. There are some trees that we're going to impact, and there's not as much drainage impacts as well.
So you're talking about on Lily, right?
No, Main.
Wait, isn't?
Main from Ann Arbor Road to Joy,
No.
east side.
Is this both sides?
No, just one side.
No.
Just east side.
It's just the east
Just
side.
the east
west
That's
side.
the easiest.
Yeah, the
Yeah, I
west
know.
side had
We-
right away.
The reason I ask is we've had requests from residents who live on the west side. That's where more of the homes are. But it's a challenge with the easements and the
Distance.
and the no man's land, the setbacks between people's yards and the street. You got gravel, you've got lawn, you've got trees. I mean, I wish we could have it on both sides, but I understand that the west side, the east side is
Well,
more easier to handle.
have we made a best efforts? If they really want it on the west, do we need?
West.
No, if, you
West.
said the people on the west really wanted it.
Yeah, I mean, everybody wants it.
Only because there's more houses there.
Right, and there's well, do we need to step back and give it another shot?
So Chuck, we've walked it a few times up and down there, and we ran into a couple of the property owners that own the right of way we need. And
They were unwilling to be
Correct.
civic-minded.
correct.
All right.
So
That's
it
a
was
nice
much
way to
easier
put
to
it.
build it on the east side where we don't need right-of-way. It's a much wider right-of-way. They already have a water main well inside of where the sidewalk's going to be from the road, so.
So you're using the water main easement?
No.
No?
Nope, the water main is almost within the Wayne County right-of-way.
All right, so this is what you're recommending, and then,
What's your timing? When are you starting, when are you ending?
So completion is this year still. So the timing as far as construction will depend on, we get through this, we got to get through bonds and insurance. It'll be at least a month and a half by the time we get into construction. But they have to finish this year.
Including remediation?
Including remediation, correct, including grass establishment, et cetera, yeah.
Mr. Supervisor,
yeah, Ms. Monahan?
can I move?
Yes.
I move to adopt resolution number 2023-05-09-42, authorizing the Board of Trustees to approve the award of the 2023 Sidewalk Gaps Project to Audia Concrete Construction in the amount of $579,340.
Second.
Okay, motion's made by trustee Monahan, seconded by clerk Vorba. Mr. Clerk, please take the roll.
Treasurer Dorchevitz.
Yes.
Trustee Kermy.
Yes.
Supervisor Heising.
Yes.
Trustee Buckley.
Yes.
Trustee Monahan.
Yes.
Trustee Stewart.
Yes.
Clerk Borba, yes. Motion carries.
Okay, thank you very much. Next is item F3, request for approval of St. John's Towns Planned Unit Development. Gentlemen, come on down.
Good evening. My name is Joe Scorn with Pulte Homes. We could use the planners report. We did have I guess, a short presentation.
Attached.
Yeah, I'd love to see
Is
it.
it attached on here? Oh.
I think we had drawings attached.
Didn't we have,
We have a flash drive too, if you don't have
Oh,
it.
you
yeah,
want?
didn't we have something I put on the desktop?
Here.
Yeah, I
Did
think
you have it from the planning
You
commission?
did it from
That's what
planning
I'm looking
commission, too.
for.
Is it the same thing you
Well,
used?
we updated just a bit if there's a specific issue that we may have.
Yeah, he has it.
All right, I'm a little challenged here. Not coming in.
Take your time. It's good. Good information.
St. John's.
Worth it.
Yeah,
Oh, that's the pump house.
It's the PUD presentation.
I think it's
Hang on a second. I'm gonna try something else here.
probably the first one, recent file.
Plymouth Walk is not you guys.
No, it's not Plymouth Walk, no.
Previous meetings.
Is it on the planning commission
It-
website?
It's the only thing on the disc. I didn't physically put it there, but it's the only thing on the.
I know, I can't,
Well, Bob could pull up the planning commission.
Yeah,
yeah. hang
I
on a
think
second.
it's probably sufficient. I mean, if we have to
Yeah,
get
I
into the
mean-
details on a particular item, this slide's a little bit better, but we can use what we have.
Well, it's okay to, let's wait a few minutes, maybe he can get it.
I can't get, it keeps collapsing on me.
There you go.
There we go.
Oh,
There we go. Hey,
There you go.
I love it when it works.
which one do you want?
I think that's the,
The PowerPoint?
go to, that, I think the one you're on is
The
probably
PowerPoint?
fine. It's-
The other two are PDFs.
I think that's it, that's it.
Yep, that's today.
okay, just tell us when you want to
Sure,
switch slides.
appreciate that. So we were before you, I think, sometime in 2022, on a connected or related item, where we discussed informally this presentation or this proposal, and we are coming back with effectively the identical development proposal here tonight. So this is approximately 8 acres on the St. John's Resort property. It is on the east side of Sheldon Road, directly across from Helm Street. It is a 73-unit townhome community. It is a no-maintenance community. When I say no maintenance, that effectively means the HOA manages the exterior of the property, the grass cutting, the snow plowing, the landscaping. It also is responsible for the four walls and roof of the buildings in the development. We think that this type of development increases product diversity and mix in the township, and probably offers a type of a home that, for the most part, isn't really available in the township, especially in this particular area. So I would probably go to the next
There's
slide.
no homes in that area.
Right. That's a fair point.
Well, on the north side of 5 Mile.
This is a better overall.
In Plymouth Township, there's no homes in that area.
No, Northville.
Yeah.
The Bishop was the last home there.
Yeah, that makes sense. So this is just an overall as it relates to the general area and St. John's property. Next slide, please.
Will it be walled off from the golf course, or will they be able to walk right on?
It will not be walled off we haven't discussed that, but we are not proposing a wall or a fence between our development and the golf course. As I mentioned, it's a 73-unit community. We have 54% open space. Some of the benefits are an improved intersection. We are signalizing, we're upgrading the traffic signal at Helm Street, and we are also going to construct a crosswalk, a signalized, safe crosswalk, just, as you can see, just north of Helm Street, to bring pedestrians, obviously, from the east side to the west side of Sheldon, and then obviously to connect into the existing pathway and north to 5 Mile.
Tell us more about that, because this is a high traffic flow. We don't want backups. How smart is it? And Jeremy, what are your thoughts on it? Because I don't want something that's going to where you push the button and it stops the traffic.
Yeah, I will.
It needs to be coordinated with the traffic signal in its normal flow of operation.
I mean, I agree with you. I'll probably defer to my engineer in terms of the actual specs and standards relative to that signalization.
Yeah, Bill Anderson with that. Well, I agree. We got a mid-block crossing one where anybody comes up and they hits it and all the traffic stops. That is not what this is. We're actually redoing the signal that's out there. It's going to be a box configuration, so it'll be one of those new improved ones. This will be a signalized crossing that they'll hit if they need to actuate it, but it'll go with the flow of the four-way traffic. So it'll be a traditional one, but it'll be signalized.
Yep. So it will have some smart logic.
It'll have some smart logic, but it's not what you're describing, where you just go up, you hit it, lights start flashing, and you just go across. That's not what this is.
Yeah, that's not going to work.
This is just a typical pedestrian push button that's attached to a signal. You're talking about a Hawk signal. That's like
it's called a Hawk.
Yeah, it's called a Hawk, and that's specialized for PEDs, and the second you push it, it goes off.
Like
and stops
downtown
the
Plymouth
traffic.
or Ann Arbor would have.
Yeah, don't want that.
Yeah.
So what we're talking about here is a push button crossing like we have at Ann Arbor Road and McClumpha.
And right here.
Which is
Right here in
right
Hackney.
here, yeah.
Okay, good.
So is this in lieu of a sidewalk along the east side?
So, Mr. Supervisor, that was a topic of discussion with the Planning Commission and also in the planner's report. And the answer to the question is, that is correct. It is in lieu of a sidewalk. We did look at the feasibility of a sidewalk on the east side of the road, and we have a couple slides to that effect, so we can go to there.
Overall, like the bird's eye?
You got the slide?
You go back to that slide that
Is it in
specifically
the
shows
slide
it.
where it shows the
It does.
drop off?
Yeah, so if you want to keep going, I have two slides to that effect.
I was going to bring up the map. There it is.
So,
That's why you're our representative.
Here's Sheldon Road.
so as you can see, just to the north of our development, that red line depicts this proposed sidewalk all the way up to 5 Mile. That's about 1,500 feet. In the yellow box, okay, that is some pretty serious topography. You can see to the right, you have the curb, you have the guardrail, and in between the curb and the guardrail, you have approximately 4 feet, okay? And then on the other side of the guardrail, you have a pretty significant drop off. So in that area, you cannot really install a sidewalk, a conventional sidewalk, or by conventional means. I mean, I'm not saying it's impossible, but to do anything in that particular area, you're talking about a boardwalk on piers or a span bridge. And then when you look at the totality of that, it's not practical, it's not viable. And at the same time, we are obviously putting something in in terms of enhancing the network, the crosswalk, and the enhanced signalization at Helm Street.
So to get to the CVS drugstore on the northeast corner in Northville Township safely, you will have to, people are not going to do it. They're going to walk in that green area. Or was there some other way versus crossing to the west, walking to the Speedway station, and then crossing 5 Mile?
Yeah, I mean, to that end, I think you're right. There's a couple, to get there, there's a couple crossings. There is a way to get there, and there is a pathway to get there and a crosswalk, but there are a couple of crossings. That's correct.
So that's kind of a negative walkable, I guess.
Well, is it going to meander through the townhouses and then let out on,
No,
is it 5
no,
Mile?
there is no.
Carl's Golf Land is in there.
Oh,
Yeah, and,
It'd be a shooting gallery.
yeah, I mean, that's private property to the east. That's the St. John's property, and there are no,
Okay.
we don't.
No, I mean, I
plan
understand
for
the
that property.
situation. I mean, I asked the question, so I get it. The topography is not good, and I know boardwalks, we've had problems with those in the past, and I know when the county did a boardwalk through Northville Township along Sheldon back in the early 2000s, that was, I think at that point, that was like almost $1 million project, so.
Is that really?
And that was, yeah, and that was back in like 2004, 2005.
Yeah,
Well,
that's
it's possible to do by grading. You could move the earth. It's doable.
So,
There's also not a ton of connections.
Pardon?
So there's also not a ton of connections south of the townhomes. That sidewalk would basically serve the townhomes and that's it. There's a
Right,
Hilton
it would be a
Garden south of
dedicated
that.
sidewalk.
Yeah, there's a Hilton Garden south of that and some businesses, but then after that, you get to Sheldon at M14 and you can't build a sidewalk there. So it would basically be a sidewalk for the townhomes only.
How much are you paying in lieu of the sidewalk into our sidewalk fund?
well, we're not paying anything. We are, again, constructing a crosswalk. And at the same time, we are upgrading the traffic signal at Helm Street.
So what do you think you're going to spend for that? What's in your budget?
We have an estimate. Our traffic consultant has an estimate. But if I'm sort of ballparking right now, we're probably looking at least $250,000.
You're gonna replace the whole traffic signal?
We are.
Are you,
You're gonna be more than that.
Jeremy, that seems like a very high number.
No.
I wish it was.
Yeah, if you switch from a diagonal span just to a box span, even with those strain wires, it's $250,000. If you go up to mast arms, which they might be required to do, that's even more.
Okay, to build a sidewalk is $600,000, right? Maybe more?
A normal sidewalk. These
I mean,
guys.
yeah, okay, well, that's what I'm saying. I'm saying they're getting off cheap. If it's 250 and you would cost, let's say it's 700,000 to build a sidewalk. So my point is, you need to contribute some money, please, into the sidewalk fund.
So I think you have to look at it relative to what we're proposing. So we're talking about just in this particular benefit relative to the signal and the crosswalk is $250,000, as I mentioned, but it's over a relatively small development. This is a 73-unit townhome development. This is not a large development. It's not even a medium-sized development. It's small. And so when we start talking about, $500,000 sidewalks or boardwalks or bridges, it doesn't make a lot of sense. It's not financially viable or practical.
So I respectfully disagree. I want you to contribute something. It doesn't have to be $500,000, but you should be contributing to our sidewalk fund. And I guess I'm surprised we have come this far and that we haven't talked about that.
Are you proposing to build lights also? I mean, there's lights right now at Helm and at Sheldon. So tell me how this would look. Would it be like almost like an L shape on your map, or Helm is not, there's no lights at Helm right now?
Yeah, there is.
Yeah, there's a traffic signal there.
Yeah.
But we are, as mentioned, we are replacing that signal.
Okay, so you're looking at like an L shape then. You're gonna have lights across Sheldon and then across Helm?
It'll be a four-way.
Four-way, okay.
And not a three-way.
I mean, I just go back to the lights that were installed by MDOT Ann Arbor Road and McClumpha, I think that was $500,000, so.
I may be light on the 250.
Yeah, I
I
think
just
you
didn't want to
are.
overshoot.
I think you are.
Everything's more expensive than you think.
So anyway, and I know Laura Ha, who did the plans, is very passionate about trees and sidewalks, so I'm sure if it passed her muster, that's pretty good. Okay.
Well, okay, so you're saying, why do you say it's going to be a four-way when there's no additional street? Right now, there's 3 legs to the street.
You're
You're going to have the crosswalk will just have controls to change the light and signals for go and don't go for the pedestrian.
That's how you get into the subdivision.
Yeah, Chuck, the street going into the sub is the 4th leg.
Okay, so that's it.
Yeah.
So there'll be a cut through there.
Yes.
Okay.
Right there. Where there used to be one.
Yeah, long time ago.
Long time ago.
Yeah, a long time ago.
Okay, so I have another question for any of you guys. Is the county aware of any of this?
Yes. I mean, I'll let you speak to that, but they're absolutely, it's their.
Are they okay with that? They're excited?
I believe they're mandating it. Yeah.
Okay, all right.
I mean, yeah.
I just don't want us to go through this
So they have-
exercise.
They're definitely, we're working with Wayne County.
Our traffic consultant speaks directly with the county
Okay.
on both the study and the need there. Like
Okay,
we said,
good.
that's an outdated signal. I think we're actually gonna improve the level of service
'Cause
through that intersection.
When we did the traffic signal at McClumpha and Ann Arbor Road, it took years and a lot of money, which MDOT eventually paid for, and then we had, the traffic studies on that went on for years, so I just don't want you guys to get jammed by the county, so it sounds like you're not.
This is a small deal, like Joe Score said, but it's right at that intersection. So we did
Okay.
a study and we spoke to the county.
Okay, so let's continue, Bob.
All right, where were we? Right here.
One more, I think we can go to the next slide, please. So this is the architecture, and we spent a lot of time designing this product specifically for this development. As you can see, you have a.
Where does the overflow parking go?
So that's an interesting question. We had guest parking on the original plan. In your planner's report, she recommended that we eliminate it, I think relative to just trying to reduce impervious surface in the site.
Really?
Yeah.
Have you looked at an alternative of using pervious type overflow parking, which I don't know what it's called, but the planner knows what it's called. What is it?
So those are called permeable pavers.
Okay, and have you considered that? And retaining the overflow parking?
I mean, that's something I'd have to take a look at. At this point in time, I can't answer that question, whether that's viable. We haven't looked at that. We had guest parking, as I mentioned, and it was requested that we eliminate it. So that's what we did.
Is that partly because you thought that people would be squatting on there and using it for parking?
I think just purely for guest
Purely
parking.
for,
Guest parking for the units.
Have any friends?
yeah, so where will people park when they visit you?
Well, each unit has 2 in the garage and 2 in the driveway.
Oh, okay.
Oh, so there is some.
Oh, yeah, definitely. Yeah, it was in addition to 4 spots per unit.
Which is twice.
Okay, it would be in addition to.
Yeah.
All right. Bob, will you just swing it back to the previous one just for a second, please? All right, okay, the dotted yellow lines, that's the perimeter of the property. Where was the guest parking proposed that's been deleted?
I'm sorry?
Where was the guest parking?
We'd have to look, we could probably go back to the original plan, or maybe the,
It's on there.
Where is it?
I thought we did eliminate it, but you can see it, that sort of that parallel parking on that stretch on the north side of the property.
Right in there, okay.
Along here?
Along the golf course?
No.
So that's east,
Oh,
right there.
my other north.
One more to the
Yeah,
right.
the other one, yeah.
One more to the right. There you go.
Yep.
In there.
Oh, this is the back of these units.
We got another one. Wait a minute.
This is the front of these units, right? Down this street and then the back, and you could parallel park along here.
Yeah, that's a good idea. You could
Or
parallel
along
park
here.
there.
Okay. All right, next slide then.
Yeah.
This gets back to the, what?
PUD justification.
Yeah, so this
Natural
is just the
features.
natural features of the site. As you can see on the western edge, just in the green area, that is a high-quality wooded wetland that we specifically and intentionally stayed away from and designed around. And then to the south is admittedly a regulated wetland. However, that is a lower quality man-made golf hole, and we are impacting that wetland.
Is that going away with the new course?
Well, I can't speak to what the Pulte family is doing on their property, but I can tell you on our property, it will be going on.
Okay.
Yeah.
So you'll be filling in that pond?
At least on our property, it will be filled in, that's correct.
And then where do you offset the wetland? Is it where it says preserved wetland system? Don't you have to offset?
No.
Or because it's a water, there's no offset required?
Well,
What is
I mean, we have a wetland consultant.
Yeah, if we need to mitigate that,
Yeah.
we will somewhere on
Yeah.
site.
You don't know yet?
We don't have a permit yet. We're still at sort of the preliminary
Have you
stage.
submitted your request?
We have not, we've walked it. We have our wetland consultant has walked it with Eagle, but we have not formally submitted for permit. Yeah.
And that's
Let me
normal.
process that.
And that's-
Walked it with Eagle.
So our wetland consultant did do a walk with
Okay.
Eagle as it was it was delineated.
Right.
But we have not, submitted an application. I mean, we like to kind of move through the process here before we get to that point.
That's normal. Okay, next. We talked about that.
We did talk about that. This is just another slide relative to the sort of the pathway system and network.
Yeah, I get it.
Hold on, don't take it away yet. Proposed path along development frontage.
Yeah.
What, explain that.
So we are proposing a pathway on our frontage.
From south to north? Or help me out.
You can't see, from this, as
Oh,
it depicts here, you can't see the totality of our frontage, but we have proposed that.
So it's essentially will take the place of a sidewalk, or not?
Well, no, just on the green. So the red is what we were talking about earlier in the right-of-way to 5 Mile. I'm talking about the green, the bold green line is our development, our frontage, and we are proposing, a sidewalk in that area.
So that is your property where the fluorescent green and the arrow is right now?
That's correct.
So is the dash green, is there a sidewalk
Yeah.
there? in
Yeah,
front?
there is.
Yes.
Oh, yeah,
It's in front of the strip mall.
yeah.
Well, I would expect that many of your residents will be walking to that strip mall or riding a bike.
Right.
It'd be a lot easier to walk or ride a bike than try to drive to it.
I think that's.
There's a bar in there, so they'll be drinking.
Okay.
Right.
Next slide.
Yep.
We're done. This slide just sort of depicts, there was a topic of discussion relative to just berming our units off of Sheldon Road. And the red area that we've depicted here on the plan there's not enough room to install a berm. And the green area to the north, there is enough room. We have no problem doing that. We also have no problem increasing the number of plantings and providing a more robust landscape plan. But just this slide is specifically relative to the planner's report and their request for more berming on Sheldon Road. That's all this is.
So what are you going to do to sound insulate these buildings on that side from the tremendous amount of traffic noise?
So we don't have any plans. We have developments and communities and homes on main roads, on just about anything you can think of. And we don't.
Railroad tracks.
Yeah, railroad tracks.
So no plans
and
to-
highways.
So
We're not concerned about mitigating the noise for these units on Sheldon Road.
No, that's shocking. What about plantings? plantings, if you use evergreens, it will mitigate the
Well,
noise.
absolutely, and we'll provide a landscape plan, and we have no problem with increasing the number of plantings for screening purposes or even psychological purposes relative to the noise, and we will definitely, comply with that and probably go above and beyond.
How many feet is it from the center line of the road to the building wall?
I don't have that information at this time, but we could get it for you.
No, we got to know it today.
Okay, anything else?
One.
Yeah, John.
That is
John.
it.
It's my opinion, 74-year-old lawyer who's practiced across Michigan, that St. John's and Pulte enjoy a very positive reputation. First class.
Really?
What's the answer to my softball question? And I want 3 points. How is this enhancing or improving a landmark site in Plymouth Township? And I'm bringing in the mayor of Holland, Nathan Box, my friend, and one of the directors of marketing from Meyer Corporation from Grand Rapids. And they're going to ask me, what are you doing at St. John's? Mm-hmm. What is the general answer of the 3 points of how you are enhancing the quality of life? Now, hey, my wife is a business manager of the Michigan Philharmonic, and she plays out there, and it's a very popular concert. We're waiting for the ballroom to be done.
But Pulte Homes and Pulte Group are two different companies.
So maybe maybe there's a little bit of misconception. Pulte Homes and the Pulte family are separate, independent, unaffiliated entities.
Okay.
We're not a subsidiary of each other. There's no connection except for the name. That's it.
Okay.
The Pulte family took their money from the Pulte when they sold the company and now have turned it into a trust.
Right.
They sold their stock.
Okay, general answer to my question. How are you enhancing this statewide landmark in Plymouth Township?
Yeah, so I mean, I think part of that answer is what I led with. I think we're providing a housing option that isn't really available in the township, and to your point, at all in this particular area. It increases the mix, the diversity, and again, I think the no maintenance option is very appealing to, again, a broad group of consumers. It could be the young professionals, it could be the empty nester or the pre-retiree that's looking for that no maintenance option, or maybe that.
Jerry, don't do it yet, out of
So I
question.
think that's a benefit to this site.
Is this at all like, do you feel like the anticipation is that there's going to be a draw to golfers to come to the?
I mean, I think it's very
Or,
possible.
I mean, are they gonna be able to drive their golf carts right on the course?
They probably can't, okay? But it's a great question, and I think that will appeal to some golfers. And again, that's something that, the synergy or the coordination will probably be discussed with the Pulte family at some point in time, but that has not been, has not evolved, I guess, at this point.
Okay.
Yeah.
So since you're on that subject, what is your marketing plan or target demographic, price points?
Yeah.
What are you doing? What's your business plan?
So it's a good question. Price points are a little tough, right, because it's a little preliminary, but, I think starting, so base prices, starting prices, will probably be in the 400s, okay?
You've already put that information out.
No, we haven't.
I've seen that 400,000.
I probably put it out as I answered a question at the planning commission meeting.
Okay.
Yeah.
It's out there.
Same question.
It's out
I
there.
asked you that question.
Yeah, but again, as I say, it's approximate, it's preliminary, we haven't, we're a year or a year and a half out. I can't speak to exact pricing, yeah.
Okay.
I'm ready.
Let's go.
What is your demographic?
So again, I think it could be a variety of consumers.
450,000.
Young professionals, young buyers, you might see some young families. Again, you may see empty nesters that are looking for the no maintenance option or the potential to lock and leave, and as snowbirds sometimes do. So I think it's a variety of buyer groups.
Okay, next. We need a motion. Go
I
ahead.
move to adopt resolution number 2023-05-09-43, authorizing approval of the planned unit development option for the St. John Towns project, as unanimously recommended by the Planning Commission. subject to further refinement of the plans as identified in the Planning Commission's April 19, 2023 motion.
Okay, motion's made by
And
trustee.
But he's not done.
Oh, sorry.
What happened?
And subject to any necessary modifications identified by the Township Fire Department and Township Engineer.
Okay, motion's made by trustee Stewart. Is there a second?
Second.
Second by treasurer Dorchevitz. Mr. Clerk, please take the roll.
Clerk Borba, yes. Trustee Buckley?
Yes.
Trustee Kermy?
No.
No. Okay. Trustee Monahan?
Yes.
Treasurer Dorchevitz?
Yes.
Supervisor Heisey?
Yes.
Trustee Stewart?
Yes.
Motion carries.
Okay, thank you. Good luck.
Thank you.
All right, next up is item G, public comment.
Hearing none.
Okay, hearing none, we're going to move on to board comments. We'll start with trustee Monahan.
Just want to say thank you for all the prayers that were given to our family when I missed the last meeting. They were appreciated. I appreciate it very much. And that's all I have to say. Thank you.
Okay, Clerk Vorva.
I'm good.
Okay, treasurer Dorchevitz.
Good here.
Okay, trustee Buckley.
Yeah, I just wanted to let the public know that I attended the dedication for the VA clinic that's going in Canton. So that's kind of a nice, as our Veterans Commission is getting off the ground here. The clinic is going to be a bridge between the hospitals in Detroit and Ann Arbor. So that's really special. Looking forward to getting started with the commission, and it's definitely, I've got a lot of new hats here in just under a year or so, but I'm up for the task. Looking forward to it, and that's it.
Where is it in Canton Township and how big is it?
Yeah, so it's right behind Sam's Club and Walmart. It's kind of off in a bit of a strange location. You know that big...
Enter off Ford Road? Or Lots?
Off of Lots, yeah. Yeah, so you go south on Lots from Warren and then turn left. So instead of going right into Sam's Club and Walmart, you would just keep going a little bit, and there's a big building there, lots of flags. They dedicated it to Major General Dillard, African-American general who made his way up through the ranks, and has a lot of distinctions to his credit.
Is it a new building or what? They
Yeah, it's a brand
retrofitted
new
an old
building. It's taken several years for it to, it was pushed by Senator Dingell and Haley Stevens to get pushed through.
Representative Dingell, right?
No, I think it's Senator.
Senator.
No, it's Congresswoman.
Oh, well. At any rate, so they were instrumental. They were there. Actually, Stevens had a representative there, but she was there, gave a great speech. The family was there. It was all very special, and,
So it's
looking forward to it.
inpatient or only outpatient, or what is it?
Yeah, it's only outpatient. And I mean, they didn't talk a lot about the services they're providing, other than to say mental health was, right where we were sitting, the sign up on the wall was about mental health. And we had one of the colonels that worked with Major General Dillard was Vietnamese. And so his son got up and gave a phenomenal speech and gave a lot of the history of the Vietnam War, and people were just, sitting on the edge of their seats. A very soft-spoken man who was nervous, but he delivered an amazing speech, and so it was really cool. A lot of good stories came out of that. So.
Okay, trustee Stewart.
2 points in regard to you, Mr. Supervisor. The Holland mayor is going to come in here in a week or so, and he's going to talk about housing options.
Okay.
I tried to tamp him down on it, but he said that's where it's at.
What do you mean by
Point
housing
number
options?
one.
In Plymouth Township?
What do you mean Holland
what's
Mayor?
going on in Holland?
In Holland.
Township, where there has been phenomenal growth and economic development.
Okay.
Point number two, my sources inform me that you've been on Twitter and/or text message negotiating very strenuously with the Carlo brothers at 6:30 in the morning. And I want to commend you for that. I would have proposed that we retain an attorney to separately negotiate with them, and I want to commend you for doing it.
I take text messages from people all day, so.
Well, I want to commend you for.
So anyway, it is in the hands of the attorneys right now, and I will comment on that shortly.
I'm done.
Okay. Mr. Kermy?
Nothing, I'm going to hear what you have to say.
Okay. So are you yielding the balance of your time, or?
Yes.
Oh, you are, okay.
So you got an hour.
Yeah. So let's start with the recreation master plan. I'll keep you in suspense. So we are still going to proceed with the update to our joint recreation master plan with the city. You may recall the last time we did this was in 2017. We now have to update that plan. What we're going to be doing is we're going to use McKenna Associates to help us with the update of the plan. We are not starting from scratch. I've met with Laura on this. At a minimum, I suspect we will have some kind of a public forum, and then we will have some kind of a survey for the recreation plan, just like we did 5 years ago. And then the plan update needs to be completed sometime in November. They're requesting that we do that before Thanksgiving. At that point, I would recommend that we do a joint meeting, preferably with the city folks, to approve the plan and go over it and, be on the same page, literally. And then we have to send that off to the state for preliminary review. We have to send it to SEMCOG and some other agencies with the goal that we would have that all completed by February 1st. So sometime over the summer, we'll have some kind of a public forum here or somewhere to gauge public opinion on things that we're doing right, wrong, and different. What other things would people be looking for? And then some kind of a survey. We're not going to do a formal poll. Those are very expensive, and results may vary.
Can you use a survey monkey?
Yeah, it's going to be something along those lines.
Do you have a cap on what McKenna can spend?
No, not yet. I think last year, when we did it 5 years ago, the city actually covered 2/3 of our.
I think our portion was $5,000.
And yeah, it was minimal because the city, we were still going through our growing pains, trying to transition from the previous administration. And so the city volunteered to cover 2/3 of our cost. I think it was about $30,000 or $35 at that time.
We did a survey?
We did. We had a bunch of verbatims. It was huge.
It was started by the old administration.
Well, no.
was not-
No, they had their own survey, Jerry. They had their own survey that was designed to accomplish a mission.
Yeah, but what I'm saying, they did something.
Well, they did something. It was very random.
Okay,
and
but-
it was not. It was suspect.
Scientific or not?
No, it was not. And it was designed to achieve a certain outcome. But what we're trying to do, amphitheater and whatnot.
Oh, that one.
So anyway,
So we had it was that thick.
Would you rather have an amphitheater or get poked in the eye with a stick?
that was pretty much the way it went.
Yeah,
so,
I know.
All right, so we're going to do some kind of a survey. Survey Monkey is usually the kind of thing we'd be looking at. Again, it would not be scientific. While we're all doing that, the city people are going to be doing their own scientific poll, allegedly. They'll probably hire somebody like an Epic MRA or a major Michigan polling firm because they want to gauge public reaction on a variety of things. And I'll share that I can share that with you guys later. But they're looking at more than just recreation. So they're going to take out the recreation plan elements of that poll and then use that data to hopefully merge their data with our data. Again, we're not trying to reinvent. Last 5 years ago, we literally started from scratch, but this time it's just more of an update. We can talk about sidewalks.
City using McKenna also?
No, they're using their own in-house. They're either going to use Wade Trim or somebody else. I'm not even sure if they're going to use, a planning firm. They may be just relying on the polling data and their whatever public forums they decide to hold. So then the goal is to merge those documents and that information in November sometime, so we have a final product by the end of the year, right? Okay, Northfield Downs right now, it was tabled at the Planning Commission meeting last week. Right now, we are still in negotiations with them. Kevin Bennett is handling things with their attorney. I do get brought in on it because, it's my job to enforce contracts. So PUDs are a contract, and the community benefit agreement is a contract. And so that's why I've been gauging your opinions now for months on what you would like to see in those agreements. And that's why I appeared before the Planning Commission. That's why we've been having multiple communications with our consultants and our legal counsel on things that we're looking for. And that goes back and forth right now. So, I'm not in a rush, so.
So who do I see if I want to see the preliminary draft? You or Kevin Bennett?
Well, for the PUD, it's Laura Haw. And
Right, that's public now.
Been
I'm talking
presented,
about-
and, well, the community benefit agreement, that's.
That's what I'm
being
talking about.
Negotiated by Kevin and their attorney. So I don't know, Kevin, are you comfortable showing that document at this point? Still a work in progress. I don't know what you're.
I have no problem showing it.
Okay.
I would expect you to have a staff review of a work in
Well,
progress.
it's clearly attorney-client privilege,
Yeah.
and that's part of my
It's okay.
concern, so,
I don't spill my guts, so.
Anyway, well, so, let's see. So that's what's going on with Northfield Downs. We have, our next meeting will be June 13th. We will not be meeting on May 23rd. So on June 13th, we have a series of reappointments to various boards and commissions. The big thing that night will be the annual audit report. So the auditors have come through, Jerry, and
Yes.
everything is clean as a whistle.
Clean as a whistle.
And done well before Memorial Day, which is the new normal around here. It didn't used to be that way. And then we're going to have a closed session with our labor attorney regarding the whole lateral hire issue. We've talked about that in the past. So we are talking to our unions now about lateral hire, letter of understanding. So our attorney will come in and talk about that in the greater context of labor negotiations, because both the fire and the police contracts are up this year. So that is in the context of labor negotiations.
So there will be a review of, in addition to the lateral, there'll be a review of what else is on the table?
We're not in negotiations with them right now. This is a more immediate concern so that we have.
But there's
the
a give and take on the lateral going on negotiation, right?
There will be. I mean, we haven't started yet. We met with the unions, we've drafted something, we've given it to them, so they're looking it over. And we'll see what happens. But that's that. And then we have probably a brownfield plan approval, but that's still kind of up in the air right now. Don't know when or if Northfield Downs is going to come before us. It may be June 13th, it may be June 27th. It just depends on when it gets past the planning commission.
June 13th, that'll be you won't have a tough time at that meeting if you're having the audit and brownfield.
Well, I mean, I get these questions, so I'm just being forthright about it.
don't know when it's gonna be.
We don't know when. It's just saying that it'll be in June.
It's got to have a planning commission meeting first, right?
Yep.
Yes.
Yep. They have to meet again and they have to make a decision. So.
Will you request the people that we're appointing that they show up, at least so we can see their faces?
Well, these are all reappointments.
That's okay. It's always good to check in.
They know that that's going to happen that night, and we ask that they can attend if they can, so.
It'd be great to see their faces.
But these are all people we're all very familiar with.
Can you speak
Yeah.
on Memorial Day event?
So in the past, there used to be a parade in downtown Plymouth. They don't do that anymore, so they are going to have a ceremony at 9 a.m. At Park at the Veterans Memorial. That should last about 45 minutes. And then they're going to take any veterans that are interested, they're going to put them in vehicles and then drive them around in the city, which is what they've been doing since COVID.
And are they aware that we're starting a commission?
They will be. I mean, I assume that we'll get the word out, and if you have anybody that you'd like to. You have to publish. It'll be on our website, it'll be on our Facebook page, and the word will get out. I've already had people approach me who want to serve on it, so.
So the VFW have not been notified in the American Legion that we're starting this?
I mean, we
Well,
just
they will
approved
be.
it
You
tonight,
just approved
yeah,
it.
yeah.
Steve will get it out too for you.
Yeah, I mean, we have lots of contacts, so.
And then
they're
two other
good.
things, I'm sorry to
Yeah, go
take
ahead.
up more time. Were you guys aware of the City of Plymouth big sign in front of scooters?
Yes, I saw it
I
today.
didn't know that. It's really big.
It's a nice sign.
What is
The City of Plymouth.
Oh, really?
City of Plymouth, it's
Yeah.
right on the corner.
Oh, okay.
They put it up today.
It's smaller than one of our signs, they're about the same size.
It's in their town, nothing we can say.
I was like,
Thanks to Sue Brams for an informative, helpful e-newsletter.
Yes, very
and
good.
then the last thing, sorry.
Yeah, go ahead.
So sorry. So we did the parade last year, and I know I threw that out there about maybe getting, I'm sorry, July 4th parade that possibly being more in like uniform, because I'm military, so that, any chance
Well,
we could do a T-shirt or something like that for
Oh,
those?
like for us?
Yeah,
That's always a possibility. We would all have to get sized for sizes, I don't know.
would you be interested?
That could be FOIA'd, I don't know. I mean,
In a uniform?
I just thought it
I
was
know
really
the-
cool that.
Hey, I'm losing weight.
That the
I
city
know
had
the city,
matching
I know the city
polos and
has
stuff
matching
like that.
polos, but they've got more money than we do,
Yeah.
so.
Yeah.
Well, 8 weeks from today is the 4th of July, and the best news, they tell me, a good Dutchman, Brett Van Dyke's, consumers will be gone from Main Street in
Oh,
Plymouth.
good, yeah. All that work that's going on is Consumers Energy, they're putting in new,
Gas
gas pipes.
Oh,
gas
that-
lines,
Oh, they've camped out in
Good
front
to
of our
replace
lawn.
the ones that were installed in the 1920s, I think. So Bob, yes.
I did neglect to mention, I think you all probably saw the email that Keith Postel passed
Yeah.
away.
Yes.
Keith was a longtime member of the Planning Commission.
Yep.
And he was a good he did a lot for the community, really appreciated it. In his last year in the Planning Commission, he was actually spending his winters in Florida, and he would fly up for the Planning Commission meeting.
Yeah,
So
very
he was
dedicated.
Very,
That's
very
awesome.
committed, so it was a loss.
All right, I need a motion to adjourn.
So moved.
Motion by
Second.
Mr. Stewart, seconded by Mr. Dwarba. All those in favor signify by saying aye.
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 I get to do that.
I am gonna have.